That's what I want. Okay. So hopefully you're in the right class. I recognize everybody. I'll go ahead and real quickly call the roll call so you guys get to know each other. Matthew's over here, Matthew Crane. Austin Kyle is right here. Juan Martinez is over here. Mitchell is right back here. Noah is here. Luis. And this is Baltazar Romero. Okay? So we're all here today. All right, so let's look at the syllabus. Oh, and it didn't save it. If you look at yours, it's correct. This is a 5-hour course, so we'll be meeting 4 days out of 5. So what's going to happen next week when I have to speak is I'm just going to move the days around. What I basically did, even though we have 5 hours, Fridays I'm having you work online, do something at home. Okay, so you don't have to come in on Fridays. Okay, next week, since I'm going to cancel probably Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll have you come in on Friday just that week, but usually you won't have to come to class on Fridays. Does that make sense? So that you've got some reading and you can catch up on that one day. And if, yeah. You what?
You gave me one class now.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 2 classes Friday, and that's only 1.
Well, that's good. And this is the later one, so you can just come and go.
It's 12:30.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you can sleep later. Okay. So this is turf diseases and insects. And as I said, yours says 5 clock hours per week. So we're going to go through identification of life cycles, control of insects and diseases. So we'll do the first half on insects and the second half on diseases. Okay, and it's mostly going to be a lecture. Okay, we could, if the snow goes away, we could go outside. Okay, but right now I'm not going to do that. So you have 2 books that we use, and they should have them both in the bookstore. You got a handbook of turfgrass insects, and this is really good. It covers everything in the United States and some of the other other areas as well for insects. So this is one that you should have on your shelf if you're doing turf at all, which is why I'm using it. Okay, so, and I don't remember, it's probably, I don't know, the bookstore charges so much more than what I would have to pay, but you can look for it on Amazon too. You've got what you need there, but they should have it in the bookstore. And then we're going to use Compendium of Turfgrass Diseases, okay, for the diseases. And this is put out by the APS, or the Pathological Society. So this turf pathologists write this. So these are very specifically oriented to turf. So they will serve you well no matter where you are in the United States, okay, and probably overseas as well. Okay, so that is the main reason I'm using these books. So for right now, for the next 3 weeks, we just need to be using this book. So concentrate on this one. And you can see that I have given you some other information to go along with it. And for those of you online, you'll find these posted in the first module. So everything's posted for this first week is posted in the first module. So I actually have out of the Pacific Northwest Manual, which I update the turfgrass pests, insects every year. These are all the insects that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, so this is up online. You can find this, the PNW handbook, Insect Control Handbook, and I've got the 2015 copy next door. I forgot to bring it over here. I'm trying to think if I have the disease one or not. I don't, but we have our book here that we can use. But these are all posted online, so this is very, very useful for you. And then I've got the slide sets all up online in modules too. So if you look at, when we start on our first lecture, okay, it's got the first slide set, and then it tells you what pages that when I'm talking about these as I go through them, where we can go into the textbook and look at them. Okay, so it'd be helpful to have that. You don't have to have it, so I'll probably be starting on these insects by the end of the week. It's Tuesday already. Yeah, I will start on just basic insect life cycle and stuff. It'll take me at least Wednesday and Thursday to get through that. So probably not going to start on these exact things until Friday, probably. Okay, but so this will help give you an idea where they are on the book, the first whole 3 sets of insect lectures on turf insects. Okay, so that's not so bad. So for each of these, we're going to be looking at We're going to start out doing general insect growth and development and physiology and structure. We aren't going to do a lot of classification of insects, but we can look at whether they're in the Diptera or the fly family. As we look at the life cycles, we'll see whether they have a complete metamorphosis or an incomplete. So that'll make a difference when you try to control them, and that's what we'll be looking at. And we'll look at some of the insect control principles, whether we can find biological control, whether we're going to see something where we have, where we're able to use a cultural control. We can do a lot of that through either increasing mowing height, decreasing mowing height, fertility, a lot of things within the turf world. Okay, so that's probably the first 4.5 weeks, and then the second 4.5 weeks we talk about turf diseases, and we look at the life cycles and explain the difference between fungi and viruses and bacteria. Most of the things that we have trouble with in turf are fungi. And so we'll look at some of the disease diagnostic principles that we need to use, and that'll be pretty similar for you with crops. You just look at a different part of the plant probably most of the time. And we'll look at IPM practices, so integrating our management strategies to see how we can change it so that we don't have to use a fungicide or don't have to use an insecticide. However, we can look at it. And identify pesticide application principles. We're going to do a lot more of that in Mike's class than in here. So letter grades, pretty much the same as any other class. Pretty much as we look at this, I'm not going to really grade attendance. It says I am, but I'm not. Since this class is online too, if you happen to miss it, you can catch up online, but it's a lot better if you're in person. But if you have to, you can do it. Okay, but it's up to you to keep up with me. It's got my office number there. Again, I didn't put my cell phone up there. Most of you have my cell phone. Did you copy it from this morning? Noah, do you have my cell phone? Okay. I'll put it over here. That's a 5. Okay, so that is always stuck in my pocket on silent. So if there was an emergency, this is the quickest way to get a hold of me. Okay, but you can send me on messages on Canvas too. Although Canvas, I don't know, sometimes they go into outer space and I'll see them about a week later. So make sure you have that. Tell me who you are, because I don't know everybody. I mean, I know who you are, but on a phone number, I don't have your phone numbers memorized yet. And I probably never will. Okay, so that's for emergencies. This week with the weather getting kind of squirrely on us, make sure you watch Canvas to see if there's any delays, in school or if something's going on. Okay, so you don't come all the way over here. It's not snowing very much now, but it's supposed to be pretty darn cold out there. Roads weren't bad at all this morning. So for course details, it says 4 tests. They're actually large quizzes. And basically, I go over every slide before we do this, and then you have to go back, and a lot of times I let you do take home, okay, on this, and you just have to identify which insect it is, what grass is it on, things like that. So basically you go through it, and the tests are to help you remember what we did. Okay, so it's not, and I usually don't make you learn the Latin names, but it's good for you to be familiar with them in case somebody, when I go outside the country, they have so many different names for things that we revert back to the Latin names. So, but you could, if you've got your handy dandy Google with you, you can look that up. But it's always good to practice saying them so you don't look like a fool, when you come out to saying Latin names. Just practice saying them. Okay, in the class the next class that comes up, they have to do a presentation. I didn't make you guys do it. I should do that. Well, it's kind of fun because you pick an insect or a disease that you want to work on, and then that you have interest in, and then you can do some research on it. We could do that, but not do a presentation too. So we'll see. I'm open to things like that. But so this is not going to be a knockdown, drag out class as far as memorization, but hopefully you will get in your head things to look for over the next summer while you're going through your spring, while you're doing your internship. So that's why this class comes now too, before you go out, so you look for things and keep your eyes open for different things as we go. Okay. So basically what I do is I just divide all the points up, so it comes out to about 500 points. Don't worry about the attendance, and let's see. So here's about how the weeks are going to go. So in the third week, we'll have an insect quiz. We could have some problems. I'll tell you what's going to be on the exam as we go, so you don't have to worry about that. So you see we don't start in with diseases until week 5. So that book you can put off buying for at least 4 weeks. Okay? So that's about all. Anybody have a question about this? So like I said, usually Monday through Thursday we'll meet in here. Fridays, not. You can work on your own, except for next week. And I'll remind you again, Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday I've got to be over there until 12. So we'll meet on Friday next week. Okay? Yeah. Oh, that's the first edition? Okay, so it won't have crane fly in it? So when we get to that point, do they have that in the bookstore? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's fine. So when we get to crane fly, I'm going to have to Xerox a copy. I think that's one of the... You missed the best part. That's where I wrote. So anyway, so that's... Basically, there's some new stuff in there that you won't have in your page numbers. Probably won't match up very well, but don't worry about it. You'll be fine.